Hello, and thank you for watching. My name is Bryan Lebo. I'm a realtor and the principal of the Lebo Group. Now, many of you may have already watched my previous video regarding AB284. For those that haven't, I would advise watching that video first and then coming back. Well, it's now been exactly 3 months since the original video debuted to much controversy. Some believed in what I had to say, while others vehemently denied my conjecture. If you remember, I ended the video reminding everyone to simply follow the notice of default numbers for themselves. Regardless of what I think, the numbers don't lie. First American Title was kind enough to provide me with accurate statistics. So let's take a look at the numbers since I made the original video and see what progress we've made since then. Okay, so as you can see, prior to AB284 back in September, we had 3,223 notices of defaults filed. October being the first month affected by this bill, we closed the month with only 96 NODs. That's only 3% of what we're used to. November came out the same with only 100 NODs. Now, finally in December, we closed out with a staggering 147 NODs. Yes, I was being facetious when I said staggering. Despite a near 50% increase in NODs over November, it's still only 5% of the NOD volume from back in September. Now, I can tell you from looking at the daily reports that the only financial institutions filing NODs right now are credit unions and small private investors, since typically they service and own their own loans. Therefore, it's pretty easy to yell at Susie, who works in the back, to pull the paperwork on Mr. Smith's loan documents. So essentially, just like I predicted back in October, we really aren't making any progress with regards to the notice of default filings. So if we're only going to foreclose on roughly 5% of the properties that we're used to, what does that mean for the inventory? Well, as we all know, the inventory has shrunk over the past 4 months substantially. At some point, our lack of foreclosure activity will hit the open market in a drastic reduction of inventory. Having said that, let's take a look at the inventory right now. As of January 17th, there are 10,559 properties available in ER status in Clark County. For non-realtors, that means homes on the market not under contract. Of those 10,000 properties, 4,950 or half are short sales, and only 1,901 are REO or foreclosure inventory. This leaves 3,708 conventional listings. Remember though, about half these conventional listings are in fact investors flipping properties they acquired from the trustee or foreclosure auction. If we don't foreclose, investors can't buy and flip, so there goes half that inventory. What's the most troubling is that all the REO or foreclosure brokers I've spoken to have all told me that they haven't been receiving inventory for over 3 months. This means unless something gives, we don't have any foreclosure inventory to look at in the imminent future. So to conclude this bummer of an update, yes, we are not making any improvements to the notice of default findings. Yes, our inventory is shrinking. And yes, the majority of our current inventory are short sales. As much as I'd rather be wrong, unfortunately it appears that the Las Vegas real estate market is going to have substantial challenges to face this spring and summer. We can only hope that the banks start releasing some of their current inventory, while we as a state find some middle ground to amend AB284 and help facilitate the notice of default filings to a more reasonable level. But in an election year, I just don't see this happening. What politician would have the guts to be the first to come out and say that AB284 is in fact bad for our recovery? Any politician who does this will instantly be branded as being in bed with the banks and politically crucified. So, love him or hate him, get used to pushing short sales, since it appears that might be all we have to offer our buyers soon. Thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for more updates.